Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Qul huwallahu ahad, Allahus samad, lam yalid walam yulad, walam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Again, I would like to thank for your participation. And it's an annual event that we deliberate on the proposals that are being framed by the ICAP fiscal committee on the budget, and they are being presented to the government for consideration by the FBR. And yesterday, Mr. Ashfaq Tola and the President presented the summary of the budget proposals to the Prime Minister. I'm sure this must have been circulated on the WhatsApp. A lot of photographs are there. So we have today a panel, a learned panel, and obviously this is being presented by the members of the committee. First of all, we have a presentation by Asif Kasbati on the indirect taxes, and thereafter we'll have a presentation of the direct taxes by Heather Patel, and thereafter a sum-up session by Asif Harun, and thereafter conclusion, and we'll be having an exclusive session, question-answer session with the Revenue Minister from like 7 to 8. So without wasting further time, I'd like to invite Asif on the stage for the indirect presentation. Please welcome Asif. Thank you.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. At the very outset, the Honorable Chief Guest, which is supposed to be here shortly, Mr. Harun Akhtar, the CPD convener, and its members, national and regional committee members, worthy members of the ICAP and other professional bodies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. I am grateful to CPD convener and its team, as well as the chairman of the fiscal committee, Mr. Ashfaq Tola, for providing me an opportunity to present ICAP indirect tax proposals, which contains 7 laws effectively before this August House. Let's kick off the topic of indirect tax budget proposal. So far as my areas to be covered, the content is important numericals and ground realities, critical and policy issues, federal indirect taxes, and few with that will be covered as a provincial tax issues as well. And then specifically, there are few issues which will be covered for provincial sales tax laws. And I have a small comparison between ease of doing business in Pakistan and other important area of the world which we are competing with, and few issues and opportunities, and summing up. If you see the booklet, it contains 108 total proposals, wherein indirect taxes contains 48, and provincial tax contains 16, and provincial specific contains 19, and aggregate 108 indirect tax proposals. Out of that, what I'm going to cover in a small span of just 20 minutes are 19 proposals, and rest will be covered by other colleagues that are 12 proposals. If we see the ground reality, पहले सिर्फ फेडरल सेल्स टैक्स था, thereafter in 2011 we saw Sindh sales tax, then Punjab sales tax, thereafter KPK and Balochistan sales tax, and now about to come or partly came is that of Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan. Continuous pressure on organized sector, and unorganized sector is unfortunately flaring up, growing up, and in organized sector is facing the issues, and that is our core subject for the today as well. If we see few critical issues which I am supposed to cover, rest will be covered by my colleagues. It is an accepted principle of VAT around the world that export of services are subject to 0 rating. However, it is not explicitly given in any of the indirect tax laws. ICAP recommends that enabling provisions be introduced in all the indirect tax laws to provide 0 rating on export of services subject to two conditions, there should be a receipt of foreign exchange through normal banking channels and meeting of reporting requirements of State Bank of Pakistan. This will promote export as well as inflow of foreign currency. Another issue, major change was made last year with regard to service of notice. I hope you might have noted that even if notices are serviced electronically or based in your folder, that is IRS folder, that is supposed to be a legally held service of notice. This is a major issue, and we suggest that the proposition prior to 2017 be brought in, because in various cases, email IDs in the profile has been given is that of high-level professionals who may not check the emails every now and then. In certain cases, tax managers' email IDs are given, and he cannot check every now and then, and if he is on leave, then there will be an issue. Who is going to check that? And his personal ID cannot be checked by every other person. It's not possible for everyone relevant person to visit e-folder just to check as to whether there is any notice or order therein or not. It is otherwise recommended that concurrently with the e-method, service of notice should be given physically as well. Until such time, the notice will not be considered as legally served. It is important because of timely compliance and to reduce litigation on account of non-service of notices or orders which lead to ex parte order issue. Another important issue is that of further tax not to be levied on extra tax regime items. Extra tax at the rate of 2% is levied and collected by manufacturer or importer on certain specified goods. Subsequent supply of the same item is exempt. Accordingly, distributor and wholesalers or retailers of such goods cannot issue sales tax invoice to their customers. ICAP recommends that amendment to be made specifically to exclude those extra tax subjected item from further tax. This is important because extra tax is collected actually to ensure collection of value addition at all stages. Hence, further tax is an irritant and the absurdity needs to be rectified. Now, other important federal sales tax and federal excise proposals. There is some problem in clicker. If somebody can rectify the issue. Barcode on all notices and orders. The Federal Bar Board in Council directed its field formation way back in 2015 that no notices be served from 1st July 2015 in the absence of system-generated barcode. There are similar directions in respect of orders as well. Luckily, LTO and few other areas are issuing notices with a barcode, which is a good thing, along with barcodes. This system has been introduced in order to ensure that the notices and orders are genuine and to facilitate taxpayer to search using online notice verification system and order at the IRS portal. ICAP recommends that this new system, the new sections or a respective new section in all the laws be introduced, in all the indirect tax laws and even in income tax as well, to the effect that no notice or order be served from July 1, 2018 in the absence of system-generated barcode. The rationale is because this Bar in Council letter is not a normally publicly published letter. And if something is put in the particular section, that will be in knowledge of public at large, and even the taxation officers, because in certain cases, even taxation officer of a small area or small cities does not know about the same. This is also important to curb blackmailing and reduce bribery culture, which is a problematic area for Pakistan. Taxpayers and FBR can ascertain the genuineness, jurisdiction, and for proper system-based record of taxpayer. This will also lead to paperless offices. Presently, appeal effect orders provisions are not available in indirect tax laws like Section 124 of the Income Tax Ordinance. ICAP recommends that new provisions be introduced for sales tax and federal excise duty at least for processing of appeal effect order quickly in line with that of Section 124 of the Income Tax Ordinance. This will lead to harmonization of laws and facilitation, and you may be aware that harmonization is the core subject for our today's discussion, as well as yesterday reported in Business Recorded 2 with the name of ICAP. In a similar way, as per Section 124 of the Income Tax Ordinance, where any issue is decided by the tribunal or High Court, the Commissioner may follow such a decision in any assessment proceeding before him until the decision is reversed by the Superior Court. Our proposal is that the provisions similar to Section 124A of the Income Tax Ordinance be incorporated in indirect tax laws so that tax authorities follow the ATR and High Court decision subject to revision if the decision is reversed. This will also lead to harmonization between different laws and facilitation. It will create facilitation. There are several proposals in last year's booklet. We have compiled this in one area so far as the rationalization of time limitations for compliance, filing, etc. Under different sections and rules, time periods have been specified. Moreover, certain powers have been given to commissioners to allow condonation to taxation officer to perform tax assessment even in the case of time-barred cases, which is against the spirit of the section. ICAP recommends that power for condonation be allowed to be used rationally with a specific restriction on condonation of tax assessment on time-barred cases. Moreover, time period for several areas be rationalized as we are suggesting, that is claiming of input tax within 6 months in federal sales tax law and provision sales tax law be increased to 1 year. Filing of refund claim of unadjusted input tax be reduced to 6 months, which should be optional. Time limit for filing refund claim can be increased from 1 year to 2 years. Time limit for payment of input tax under Section 73 of 180 days can either be withdrawn as input tax is allowed once the sales tax is paid by the seller. जैसे आपको मालूम है कि स्ट्राइव के न्यू सिस्टम में क्रॉस मैचिंग के बगैर इनपुट टैक्स नहीं मिल सकता. Or the time limit can be increased to at least 1 year. Time limit for issuing debit credit note rule be increased from 180 days to 1 year. This all will lead to rationalization and facilitation without much cost to the government. Input tax on building material, ये लास्ट ईयर अमेंडमेंट आई थी जिसकी वजह से प्रॉब्लम होने लगी और SRO आया और लास्ट ईयर भी कुछ चीज़ें आई. अब इस सिलसिले में लाहौर हाई कोर्ट ने भी डिसीजन दे दिया है अगेंस्ट में गवर्नमेंट के, और ATR इस्लामाबाद में ने भी गवर्नमेंट के अगेंस्ट में डिसीजन दिया है. अकॉर्डिंगली व्हाट वी आर सजेस्टिंग कि बिल्डिंग मटीरियल अगर आपको इकोनॉमी ग्रो करनी है तो इट्स इम्पॉर्टेंट दैट इट्स इनपुट टैक्स शुड बी अलाउड रादर देन रिस्ट्रिक्टिंग. ऑल्दो टैक्सेबल एक्टिविटी के लिए कैटेगोरिकली लिखा हुआ है लॉ में, लेकिन स्टिल some taxation officer are creating an issues और प्रॉब्लम हो रही है, इसलिए इट्स बेटर टू क्लियर कट ये प्रोविजन ख़त्म की जाएं और इनपुट टैक्स अलाउबल होना चाहिए और रिस्ट्रिक्शन इसके ऊपर नहीं होनी चाहिए. इसी तरह से एक रिस्ट्रिक्शन है कि अगर प्रोविंशियल लॉज में रिड्यूस रेट दिए हुए हैं या डिसअलाउंस है तो फेडरल सेल्स टैक्स लॉ में वो डिसअलाउंस तस्वर कर लिया जाएगा. तो इस सिलसिले में 2 रिकमेंडेशन है कि एक तो ये कि प्रोविंशियल सेल्स टैक्स में रिड्यूस रेट का इनपुट टैक्स मिलना चाहिए, नंबर 1, और नंबर 2 कि अगर नहीं मिले फॉर एनी रीज़न व्हाट्सएवर तो फेडरेशन में ज़रूर मिलना चाहिए. इसके अलावा एक अनयूजुअल प्रोविजन है रिगार्डिंग डेबिट एंड क्रेडिट नोट के इसके रूल्स जो हैं उसके अंदर देयर इज़ नो प्रोविजन कि अगर आप एक इनवॉइस इशू कर दें उसके ऊपर सेल्स टैक्स लायबिलिटी डिस्चार्ज कर दें लेकिन कल को वो रिकवरी ना हो बिकॉज सेल्स टैक्स इज पेएबल ऑन अक्रूअल बेसिस, लेकिन जब रिकवरी ना हो तो आप उसको क्रॉस कर सकें और उसको आप निगेट करके अपनी लायबिलिटी जो आपने पे कर दी है उसको वापस ले सकें. ऐसी कोई प्रोविजन नहीं है. व्हाट वी आर सजेस्टिंग हियर कि इट्स अ वर्ल्ड नोन फैक्टर कि बैड डेट्स इज अ ग्राउंड रियलिटी. इनकम टैक्स में अलाउबल है, तो वाई इनपुट टैक्सेस और एडजस्टमेंट इज नॉट अलाउड इन द केस ऑफ बैड डेट्स. यहाँ एक डिस्पैरिटी है बिटवीन रूल्स एंड एक्ट. एक्ट में लिखा हुआ है कि डेट ऑफ रिसीट ऑफ सेल्स टैक्स ऑर्डर के 30 डेज के अंदर अंदर रिकवरी प्रोसीडिंग, उसके बाद रिकवरी प्रोसीडिंग होगी. लेकिन रूल में लिखा हुआ है कि 30 डेज ऑफ फ्रॉम द डेट ऑफ ऑर्डर रिकवरी प्रोसीडिंग हो सकती है. तो फ्रॉम द डेट ऑफ ऑर्डर वो डेट ऑर्डर लेट सर्विस करते हैं और फिर आपके बैंक अकाउंट भी फ्रीज कर देते हैं, विच इज़ अनफेयर. एंड rules can never proceed over the act. It's a general principle. Accordingly, we suggest that a rule be amended to be in line with the act कि date of receipt of order से 30 days count होने चाहिए before taking any recovery proceeding. Debit credit note rule, dutiable goods के ऊपर तो डेबिट क्रेडिट नोट रूल इश्यू हो सकते हैं, लेकिन अनफॉर्चुनेटली वहाँ ड्राफ्टिंग एरर हो गई है कि वहाँ ड्यूटेबल सर्विसेज नहीं लिखा हुआ, विच लीड टू अ प्रॉब्लम कि डेबिट क्रेडिट नोट रूल जो है अप्लाई नहीं होता करेंटली ऑन FED. दिस इज स्पेसिफिक टू FED. नाउ आई कम टू एरिया विच इज डिफरेंट फ्रॉम द वन विच वी आर डिस्कसिंग. Some problem. Now these are provincial sales tax issues जो तकरीबन तमाम provincial sales tax law में है, लेकिन उसके टॉप के ऊपर एरिया भी लिखा हुआ है कि सिंध और पंजाब sales tax में प्रॉब्लम ये है कि input tax is not allowed if not deposited by supplier. कि हमने पे कर दिया, उसको सप्लायर ने नहीं जमा कराया तो हम फंस गए. अब इस सिलसिले में ज़ाहिर है लाहौर हाई कोर्ट का डिसीजन मौजूद है इन फेडरल सेल्स टैक्स एक्ट कि ऐसा नहीं हो सकता कि सप्लायर ने न जमा कराया तो इनपुट टैक्स जो पेयर है उसको डिसअला हो जाए. व्हाट वी आर प्रपोजिंग हियर कि प्रोविंशियल सेल्स टैक्स में भी ऐसी सिचुएशन में जब हमने पे कर दिया है, सप्लायर ने पे नहीं किया, वो हमारा कसूर नहीं है, उसका कसूर है, आप उसको पकड़ें, परचेजर या एक्वायरर ऑफ सर्विसेज को न पकड़ें और उसको अलाउ किया जाए. विदहोल्डिंग टैक्स फ्रॉम पेमेंट टू अनरजिस्टर्ड पर्सन. इस सिलसिले में यू मे बी अवेयर कि सिंध सेल्स टैक्स में 20% विदहोल्डिंग करनी पड़ती है, आप बल्कि पूरी विदहोल्डिंग टैक्स करनी पड़ती है इन द केस ऑफ अनरजिस्टर्ड पर्सन, और इसी तरह से बाकी लॉज में भी पूरी विदहोल्डिंग करनी पड़ती है. और प्रैक्टिकली स्पीकिंग जो ऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर होता है उसी को विदहोल्डिंग टैक्स भुगतनी पड़ती है, सप्लायर की भी. इसीलिए फेडरल सेल्स टैक्स लॉ में भी पहले इसी तरह से मसला था, लेकिन बाद में उन्होंने करेक्ट कर दिया हालात के तहत कि ये प्रैक्टिकली ऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर को देना पड़ता है, तो इसीलिए उन्होंने रेट रिड्यूस करके 1% कर दिया. व्हाट वी आर प्रपोजिंग हियर इज दैट कि ऑल प्रोविंशियल लॉज में भी ये 1% होना चाहिए ऑन सप्लाई टू रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन. अगर पकड़ना है तो वो डेटा लिया जाए कि जो सप्लायर का डेटा है ऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर से, और उनको फिर पकड़ा जाए फॉर ब्रॉडनिंग द टैक्स बेस. दिस विल नेचुरली reduce the cost of doing business for a registered person and the economy can be boomed. Tax exemption for social sector, hospital और दीगर जो इदारे हैं, फलाही इदारे हैं, उनके ऊपर इनकम टैक्स की एग्जाम्पशन उमूमी तौर के ऊपर होती है, फेडरल सेल्स टैक्स की एग्जाम्पशन होती है. व्हाट वी आर प्रपोजिंग हेयर कि प्रोविंशियल सेल्स टैक्स की भी एग्जाम्पशन होनी चाहिए. दिस विल बी गुड फॉर पुअर्स एंड मिडिल क्लास. इसके अलावा मेजर प्रॉब्लम कॉन्ट्रैक्चुअल एग्जीक्यूशन ऑफ वर्क एंड फर्निशिंग सप्लाई, जिसकी डेफिनेशन लॉ में नहीं है, और जो मर्जी चाहते हैं वो सेकंड शेड्यूल से बाहर जो चीज़ होती है उसको भी प्रिज्यूम कर लेते हैं कि इट्स एग्जीक्यूशन ऑफ अ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, और फिर उसको टैक्स कर देते हैं. दिस इज इम्पॉर्टेंट कि आइदर द एंट्री शुड बी डिलीटेड और इफ इट कैन नॉट बी डिलीटेड इट शुड बी क्लियरली डिफाइंड इन ऑर्डर टू अवॉइड लिटिगेशन. Reimbursement of service cost out of pocket expenses, ये recently generated issue है due to SRB circular mainly, और उसकी वजह से और provinces में भी there will be a problem कि जो auditor या दीगर लोग आपको out of pocket expenses charge करते हैं. SRB has clarified